So today, we're talking about the 5 things that are keeping you poor without you knowing. And this is financially poor and struggling, or spiritually poor and struggling. Let's just get right into it. It's 5 things. We can talk about 3 things real quick, then we'll double back to the last 2. The first one is reflecting. Reflective people often find themselves removed from the realities of life. Reflective people often find themselves removed from the realities of life. You can't move forward while looking back at the same time. A lot of things that you reflect on, you tend to be obsessive about, and it's traumatic, so it's counterproductive to obsess over those things. So be cautious about how much time you give to things that you can't change. Instead of reflecting, learn to embrace, accept, and just keep pushing. Number 2, investing. You have to become fully invested in yourself before you start to invest in other people and letting their problems become your problems. You have to be fully invested in yourself, your vision, your goals, before you're invested in other people and their problems, allowing them to become your problems. You'll know that you're fully invested in your vision when you start sacrificing things that you care about to protect it. Until then, you're always gonna feel like you got too much on your plate. You're gonna feel like your attention, like your energy is spread too thin, because you're too invested in things that aren't, how can I say, conducive to your vision. And do you have a vision? And if you don't, you should get one. And like I said, you'll fully understand that you're invested in yourself and that vision when you start sacrificing things you love and care about to protect it or to push you towards your goals. The third thing is accessibility. And I think this is important in the day and age of internet. There's nothing of high value that's easily accessible or accessible to everyone or accessible all the time. So you need to be cautious of who, not only who you deal with, but how easy is it? How easy is it to enter your circle and hang out with you? How easy is it for a liability to enter your circle of trust and hang out with you? How easily do you allow people in your sex life? How easily are you accessible through texting, through calls? How easily are you willing to compromise your character or your morals or your values for a check? You know, so checks, texts, sex, you have to be cautious of how accessible you are, because if you find yourself being too accessible, it's probably because you're low value. You got to watch the spiritual exchanges, the energy exchanges that you have with people. I know some people I talk to, it's going to be dark. I know some people I talk to, it's going to be uplifting. I know certain jobs, they're going to treat me like crap. I know certain jobs are going to value me. You got to learn to walk away and stay away from things that tend to be more so liabilities than assets, and make sure that you're not easily accessible. Again, some people, you're just overexposed. And this can lead to nothing but either vulnerability or traumatic experiences that halt you trying to pick yourself up off the ground and go from a position of struggling to thriving. I mean, like I said, there's going to be people that call you, it's going to be dark. Some people that text you, it's always about something dark. And then there's other people that uplift you. Who do you need to make sure has access to you? And also it needs to be a co-utilization. It's almost like when you have a vision or a dream, it's like a little baby. So anybody that has access to you, it's like you're co-parenting that little baby. Instead of co-parenting, let's call it co-utilization. The people that have access to you in your life, can you utilize them? Can they utilize you? There is nothing of high value that is easily accessible. Remember that. And then the fourth thing brings me to sleep. It's too many people not getting enough sleep. And this is vital. And I think it's not spoken about enough. The 3 things that I just spoke on lead to a lack of sleep oftentimes. Doing too much reflecting on trauma. Too many people have access to you. You're invested in the wrong things. Now you find yourself not being able to get enough sleep. Sleep is vital to retention, energy, recovery. You can't even retain information without going through the right sleep cycles that take 6 to 8 hours a night. that you have to go through these cycles to even retain information. So what's stopping you from sleeping? Address it, and quickly. Because if you're not getting it, it's almost, you gotta enjoy some music, some tunes really quickly. But not getting enough sleep, shout out to the reggaeton going on. But yeah, not getting enough sleep is almost like doing a hard drug. It'll have the same kind of physical effects on your body, the same kind of mental stress on your body. They say that driving sleepy is worse than driving under the influence of alcohol. So are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting those 6 to 8 hours every night to make sure that you can retain the information that you're studying? Because most likely if you're down bad, you're studying something. That sleep is vital to retaining that information. And even me working in the pharmacy, I see it all the time. One of the main things that people have in common when they're stressed the heck out, they're not getting enough sleep. So make sure that whatever's affecting your sleep, address it, handle it, get the discipline around it to make sure that you're getting proper rest. And that brings me to my last point. Let's call it uselessness. I was gonna say usefulness, but let's call it uselessness. A lot of people out there that are down bad, employers see you as being useless. Can you sell yourself in one sentence? I'm a pharmacist, I'm an engineer, I'm a welder. If you can't sell yourself in one sentence, you're viewed as useless in the workforce. You're viewed as useless to employees. Now in your personal life, you may have some value to one or two people, group of people. I'm not talking about your personal life. I'm talking about when it's time to get a check. Can you be of use? And the only way to be of use in business, the only way to generate business, to generate money in business, you have to own or create a product or service. Or the other way, you develop some intellectual property, you create some intellectual property. Now that's the only way to generate money. And usually the businesses that do that are the biggest and the best, well, they do all three. They offer a product, a service, and they have IP. Think of Apple, think of Tesla. Now, the way you find yourself profiting off of these things is becoming an intermediate between these larger, if you don't have your own company, become an intermediate between the larger company and the clientele. And the easiest way to do that is obtain a license. I have a license to sell drugs legally. You have to have a license to serve certain people, to serve certain projects, to complete certain projects. You have to have a license. America is a big import-export business, right? My father, a longshoreman, he had a license to operate a crane. They pay him to operate the crane. He comes home and get a check every Friday. My mom was a nurse. She's a licensed healthcare professional. And if you find yourself struggling to get on your feet, get a license. Get a license, develop a product, develop a service. So if we have to run back through these things really quickly, just to kind of summarize it up, if you're down bad, you're probably reflecting too much on the wrong things, overinvested in counterproductive things. Too many people have access to you. At too much of a high price, at too much of a cost, people have access to you. And the undisciplined nature of these things and of your lifestyle are probably leading to you not getting enough sleep. Now on that sleep thing, of course, there's going to be seasons where you can't get the type of sleep you want to, but make sure it's not a regular thing. Make sure if that's a season that you're not getting the right amount of sleep in, make sure it's a season. Not every day, not all year. Whatever you're going through, take time out to figure out why it's stopping you from getting good night's rest, because I'm telling you, you need to retain information and get off your ass and change your situation. You need energy to fight throughout the day. Every day is a fight. You need your energy. You got to recover at the end of the day, and sleep is vital in that. And I want to say this last thing about uselessness, right? Because I've been useless before. I've work field kind of looking at me like, hey man, you don't have much to offer. It's not much on your resume, right? So one of the two things you can do Start your own thing. When I was 14, I started, I couldn't work, I was too young, nobody wanted to hire me, I started a car washing business. But the other thing that you can do is, if you can't start your own business, product, service, intellectual property, try this out. Just fight. Just fight. Just don't be complacent. I don't mean literally fight, go back and go knock somebody out. But fight for what you want. Figure out what you want. Start going hard for it. Start sacrificing for it. Start being attractive to the people that can be conducive to getting you to where you are. I've helped so many people as a pharmacist since I've graduated just because people helped me get to where I am. So I'm gonna pay it forward. However, I can't help you if you're not helping yourself. Those professors, those mentors that helped me, they couldn't help me if I wasn't helping myself. And so I want you to go listen to a song by Bobby Womack. It's a great song. It's called Harry Hippie. And in that song, it's one of my favorite quotes. He says, I like to help a man when he's down, but I can't help a man sleeping on the ground. So if you're doing bad, if you're down bad, if you're struggling, if you feel like you're poor spiritually, financially, start finding something to fight for. People will respect it, and it'll attract things to you that are going to propel you on your path. But nobody's going to help you if you're sleeping on the ground. Stay woke.